What's up, space pirates? This is your Admiral, the endlessly edgy Dr. Disaster, and Clair Obscur Expedition 33 has really come out of nowhere and pleasantly surprised the gaming industry with how fun and creative it is, so naturally a handful of weirdos have felt the need to come out and attack the game.
Am I so out of touch? No, it's the children who are wrong.
I'd like to preface what I'm about to talk about here by saying that I rarely discuss other creators because I despise internet drama. My rule of thumb is that I like to stick to the news and keep to myself and not worry about what other creators are doing. That being said, Clair Obscur is under fire from people for no damn good reason, and I didn't want to cover it at first, but I realized that if this had been the game journalists that were hating on it, I would have talked about it. So, in the interest of being consistent, I decided to talk about Torch shitting on Clair Obscur. This dude's takes on gaming in the past few months have been nothing short of embarrassing as hell, and I want everyone to understand my position when it comes to this guy and his buddies.
Oh, wait a minute, you gotta understand, man. I never even saw these assholes before.
This dude has gotten roasted for this post here on X, where he says, "Gamers, the Expedition 33 reports are true. How does a game that opens with a sundered early 1900s Paris set to a beautiful French song end up with a town full of characters straight from south of midnight? It breaks the immersion, it disrespects European culture, and naturally, the rest of the world tried to explain to this guy that Clair Obscur is a fictional setting and isn't actually France. In fact, the dude even got a community note on this post where users explained Clair Obscur Expedition 33 cannot functionally disrespect European culture because it, in and of itself, is not set in France or Europe. It is a fantasy game set on the fictional island of Lumiere that merely draws inspiration from the French Belle Epoque time period. And I can about imagine how Torch felt in response to this community note.
This is so humiliating!
Meanwhile, the game itself hit over 120,000 concurrent players at its peak this weekend on Steam, blowing away the likes of Dragon Age the Veilguard and Assassin's Creed Shadows, and the official Clair Obscur X account announced that they hit 1 million sales in just a couple of days, which is incredibly impressive. So, posts like this, where Torch tried to make his point that people either don't or shouldn't like Expedition 33 by having people choose between playing Gustav or Marcus Phoenix, that really feels desperate in light of this information. The guy has made an ass of himself, and he's trying with all his might to get others to join in, but we're just not doing it.
We're going streaking through the quad and into the gymnasium. Come on, everybody! Come on!
You have no power here.
Alright me hearties, make sure you hit the like button on this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and also, please consider supporting the channel by becoming a member. The first part of the novel that I've written, a dark fantasy story called The Darkest Heritage, is available now for members only, and I have gotten some great reviews from people. The feedback has been overwhelming, so if you want to support an alternative to mainstream culture that won't break the bank, consider becoming a channel member for as little as $5 a month, and also look for the book when it becomes available on Amazon in the near future. But anyhow, let's talk about Clair Obscur and how Torch is trying desperately to get people to side with him here. Keep in mind that right when the game came out, Torch was saying this shit here. Assassin's Creed Shadows was created by 3,000 feminist activists, and Clair Obscur was created by 30 passionate gamers, but somehow, in the space of a single day, based on the fact that there are a few non-white people in existence in this made-up world, the dude has completely changed his tune. And I have to say, I don't want to be associated with that in any way, shape, or form. The dude, along with John of Rice as well, have basically become a caricature of Gamergate. Look, we don't want forced diversity where they have a game like Assassin's Creed Shadows trying to portray something ahistorical as historical, and we don't want games like South of Midnight where the whole point of the game appears to be the immutable characteristics of the main character. But we aren't talking about that here. We are literally talking about a fictional world where, for the love of all things holy, none of the main characters are even black. And if they had been, that would have been fine. It's a new IP. As long as they didn't make them purposely ugly or something like that, and as long as the skin color of these characters didn't weirdly become their whole personality, I wouldn't have given a shit. But like I said, Yorch and the handful of creators in his corner of the internet really jumped on this one, sounding pretty similar to what the game journalists have always said that we were in the Gamergate crowd. And I can understand being touchy about this sort of thing and having a knee-jerk reaction, considering that games have been so bloody woke over the past few years. But this guy just keeps doubling down and being completely self-righteous when people make very obvious points saying, guys, this is not supposed to be France. This is something else. This is a different world. But he tried to justify himself here, saying, gamers, I originally didn't go on a crusade against Expedition 33 because, 1, it's a new IP. The devs didn't hijack an existing one, and it certainly isn't a Concord where even robots featured pronouns. 2, it's not a remaster where Type A, Type B nonsense was injected when there was previously none of that. 3, it's a new studio that hasn't sold its soul to globalist entities like Embracer Group. 4, Kepler Interactive, its publisher, is owned by a group of independent game devs. 5, it's not a Doom the Dark Ages where a feminist company like Microsoft is diluting an existing brand by appealing to the Pedro Pascal Disney Marvel audience. I have no idea what the hell his gripe is with Doom. Doom looks awesome, but whatever. 6, it's not a Compulsion Games or Obsidian, once revered studio that has been corrupted beyond redemption by DEI and feminist initiatives sponsored by Microsoft. However, the tone of the DEI inclusions in the game is antagonistic toward French and European identity. I can't continue spreading a coherent message if I don't call it out. Dude, you aren't spreading a coherent message now. If they aren't trying to portray France or Europe, then, as the community note said, then they can't insult France or Europe. I don't know what the hell you're talking about here. But he goes on, many won't agree with this, but we can't keep tolerating every single disrespect to Western identity in the form of alternate worlds. If you want to do an alternate world, don't use La Tour Eiffel or l'Arc du Triomphe as your setting only to turn it into South of Midnight. Once again, this isn't France. It is inspired by France, and in this imaginary world, some people are black. If you can't handle that, then I don't know what to tell you. But he concludes saying Expedition 33 is no better in that regard than woke slop like Bridgerton. The game is beautiful, its art direction is breathtaking, it is definitely a promising future for Western development, but the sneaky DEI pandering ruins the experience. DEI destroys everything. Western gaming deserves respect. European history deserves respect. Western civilization deserves respect. And then he held a little poll, where he asked people to choose between the OG Final Fantasy VII, Chrono Trigger, and Expedition 33. Now, I'm not sure what the point of the poll was supposed to be. Naturally, you'd think people would choose the beloved classics over the game that's been released for about 5 minutes now, but even his own audience decided to shit on Yorch, as you can see here, with 62% of people choosing Clair Obscur. And let's be real, I'm sure a lot of people, like myself, I voted here and I voted for Clair Obscur, and I'll betcha that most people aren't actually calling Expedition 33 better than FF7 or Chrono Trigger. We just wanted to send a message. The dude will never get it though. One of his followers responded to the poll saying, "Imagine not picking Chrono Trigger or FF7. And Yorch responded saying, "The modern audience is doing its thing." So, apparently if you think E33 is a fun game, you're the modern audience now. That's basically the whole, if you're not with me, then you're against me mentality. But this guy is missing the point completely. People are likely not saying E33 is better than those classics. They simply want to push back against this ridiculous narrative. But this guy and John of Rice think they've got the sort of power to say that Gamergate 2 has failed because it hasn't lived up to their standards. They're trying to start a Gamergate 3, which they say is conservative, whereas Gamergate 2 is libertarian. And considering how much these guys have lost the plot, I applaud this. Anything to distance them from us. And in the spirit of creating more distance, may I humbly ask that you people choose a different name besides Gamergate. After all, you wouldn't want to be associated with failure, am I right? I'd recommend Doofusgate, or maybe Simpletongate. I'm just spitballing, but I'm gonna leave it there. Clair Obscur is an objectively great game that even the game journalists are praising. This is a massive win for the gaming community as a small AA studio shows these greedy shitbag corporate AAA dingleberries how to win, and they're doing it without identity politic pandering. But drop your thoughts on this situation into the comment section below, and we will talk there. Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your Admiral is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.